You're listening to the weekly Parsha podcast with Ari Goldwag, recorded with Hashem's never-ending assistance in Ramat B'Shemesh Israel, 5778, 2018. This week's Parsha in the outside of Israel is Tazria-Metzora, two Parshas together. And in our Parsha, we speak about the concept of the Metzora. The Metzora is the leprous person, but we're not speaking about the leprosy of today, but rather a spiritual illness which was manifest on the body. And the Torah gives a whole description of how it's recognized, how it's treated, how it's taken care of. And it's very clear from the Pesukim, from the verses, that we're speaking about a spiritual illness. It's not brought to a doctor, it's brought to a Kohen, to a priest. And our sages tell us, our Chazal say that what is the reason? There's a number of different reasons why a person gets spiritual leprosy, why they get tzara'as. But the main reason that we are aware of, that we speak about, is for Lashon Hara, for speaking gossip. And I'd like to share with you a beautiful piece, and we'll see how much of it we can get through because it's rather long, from Reb Chaim Friedlander on the Parsha. Lashon Hara. What is the concept of Lashon Hara? We're going to speak about two ideas. We're going to speak about Lashon Hara, which is speaking gossip, negative speech of others, and we're going to speak about the contrast between that and V'ahavta l'recha kamocha, which is loving our fellow as ourselves. Having a positive attitude about others. What is we have a minakotza lakotza from one extreme to the other when we speak about these two ideas. The Torah expects greatness of us. So let's understand and speak about the concept of gossip, of Lashon Hara, and what are the special and unique concepts that coincide with gossip, with speaking Lashon Hara. What is the punishment for someone who speaks Lashon Hara? It says Reb Chaim Friedlander, so somebody who is a tzarua, he has tzara'as, he has the spiritual leprosy. If it's found upon him the malady, so his clothes have to become undone, his hair has to be parua, has to get wild. And he calls out, as he walks through the streets, he calls out, impure, impure, speaking of himself. He has to be sent out of the encampment of the Jewish people, and that's when the Jews were in the land, as they were wandering in the wilderness. But certainly, when they got to Israel as well, it was necessary for them to be sent out of the city. Many times we can understand, says Reb Chaim Friedlander, the depth of the sin, or what's involved in the sin, by understanding the punishment for this sin. We can understand the essence, the root of the sin, by looking at the punishment. Because we understand through the punishment how the sin is rectified. As our sages say, it's a Gemara in Erchin, Daf Tes Vav Amabez. Whoever speaks gossip, speaks negatively of others, so the blemishes come upon him. tzara'as. Someone who speaks negatively of his friend in a hidden way, in secret, I'm going to bring him a punishment. We see that tzara'as is mida keneged mida, measure for measure, keneged of Lashon Hara, because of the sin of Lashon Hara. So we need to understand the depth of the sin. As our sages say, the word Metzora is a contraction. Metzora means someone who has tzara'as. Metzora is a contraction of Moitzi Shem Ra, somebody who speaks negatively of others, malign somebody else. This is the Torah in order to understand the essence of the sin. Okay, so we see tzara'as is caused by speaking gossip, and again, gossip here doesn't just mean making up stories per se. It could be saying something that's not true, is certainly included, but even saying something that's true, which is negative, is Lashon Hara. It's negative speech, forbidden by the Torah. One of the very stringent halachas, the laws, this is a big one, a biggie, is gossip. He needs to leave the three encampments of the Jewish people, Kohen, Levi, Israel. He needs to go out, he needs to sit alone, call out, I'm impure, impure.
going and being alone is a disconnect from his surroundings. This has caused him to sit by himself in order to create, to think about, to take stock, to make an accounting. How to fix the negativity that he caused through speaking Lashon Hara. We'll see later on what is the measure for measure involved in this sin and in this punishment. Now, Rav Chaim Friedlander tells us an amazing thing that Chazal say in regards to Lashon Hara, and we need to understand the depth of it. There's another punishment, Chazal say, that a person incurs when he speaks gossip, and this is heavy, so hold on to your seats. This is what the Chavis Halavavis writes. Have compassion on yourself, my friend. Have compassion on your merits, that you shouldn't lose them and not realize it. It was said about a certain righteous individual who was mentioned in a negative way. Someone spoke Lashon Hara about him. And when the matter got to him, when he found out that negative words were spoken about him, so he sent a vessel to the person who spoke about him, and the vessel was full of different branches and different kinds of produce of his land. Because of his love. So he sent him a message saying that I heard that you sent me your zechuyos, your merits. So I wanted to send you back something in return. One of the Hasidim said that many people will come to the day of judgment. They'll come after they've lived their 120 years on this earth. They'll come to heaven and they'll find in the book of their merits certain things that they didn't do. Why do I have a merit for something I didn't do? I didn't do this mitzvah. Excuse me. And they'll say, I didn't do this. They will say to them, you know why you have this merit? It's because someone else spoke negative speech about you. He had done a positive deed before that, and you got the merit of the positive deed. It was transferred to you. And similarly, the person who spoke negatively is going to be like, hey, where's my merit for this particular mitzvah that I did, this good deed I did? And they're going to say, it was lost to you when you spoke negatively of so-and-so. Okay? So that's the idea. It brings a verse that merits can be transferred from one person to his neighbor. And how does it happen? It happens through this. So, B'tzarech B'Yirayin says, Reb Chaim Friedlander, we need to understand this. God is perfect. God gives out measure for measure. Well, why is it? How can it be? He's going to end up with the averis, as I didn't read every single line here, but he also ends up with the averis of the person that he spoke about, the bad deeds, the demerits. He ends up with, he gets those demerits from the person he spoke negatively about. It's transferred to the Mesaper Lashon Hara, the one who spoke gossip. But how is that midah keneged midah? How is that a proper thing? How can it be transferred in this way? Why is it specifically when it comes to the Avera of Lashon Hara, why does this occur? Okay, now I'm going to skip a piece in here. What is the idea, the depth? Why does a person speak negatively of others? What do I gain if I gossip and I say something negative about somebody else? What do I get? The human being has a unique quality when it comes to evaluating himself, trying to understand his value. So sometimes there are different ways of evaluating yourself. A person can say, look, I'm good because I do good things, or I'm bad because I do bad things, whatever it is. But another way of evaluating oneself is as a yachasi, as a relation it's in comparison to others around him. Look, it's human nature to want to find favor in the eyes of others, to want to be seen by others in a positive way. The way that he determines his own personality, his own value, is based on how others think of him. When he is amongst others, every single action that he does, every word that he speaks, every act that he does, even the clothes that he wears, whether a person realizes it or not, it's all because he cares about what others will think of him. I'm going to wear these clothes because I'm worried. What are you going to think about me? What's going to find favor? What's not going to find favor in the eyes of others? As the Ramchal writes, honor is something which has to do with our relationship with others. Honor is something which pushes a person in all kinds of directions in the world. Without the honor, without caring about what others think of me, so I would have been ready to eat whatever I can, wear whatever will cover, just walk around with a loincloth. What do I care? Well, I need such a beautiful house. I need such a big house. What's the difference? Because a parnasa kala, you wouldn't have to make so much money. You wouldn't have to get rich. But in order the person he doesn't want to feel less than his friends. He puts himself in a challenging spot. There's no end to the work that he has to do. So that's the end of the quote from the Ramchal. A person thinks that he's good when someone else thinks he's good. And if somebody makes fun of him, someone sees him as lowly, he's lowly. He doesn't evaluate himself based on what he actually is, based on his own understanding of his greatness. But he bases it on those who are around him and how they think of him. We're trying to understand what is the reason why somebody has such a desire to speak negatively of others. And the answer is because I care so much about what others think of me. This is the foundation. What's the mistake of the one who speaks Lashon Hara, who speaks gossip? He thinks that by knocking down somebody else, by speaking negatively of him, saying a juicy piece and knock down the other person, he lowers the other person, and thereby he raises himself up. According to how much he knocks somebody else down, he perceives himself as being much greater. When he says this other person has this terrible character trait, he wants us to understand that he doesn't have that character trait. He wants us to think that he's perfect. He's got all of the advantages. A young child speaks negatively of someone else. He says, look what that kid is doing. He wants to say, I'm not doing that. I'm better than him. An adult lives with that same mistake. Even if he doesn't say it explicitly, but just at the very edge of his conscious mind, he's just trying to be picked up by knocking somebody else down. Now we come to the concept of what does it mean to love somebody else like oneself? It means to recognize the other person's positive traits. We can understand this idea based on the Ramban in Vayikra Yutes in Leviticus chapter 19 verse 18. Loving one's neighbor as oneself is the opposite of speaking gossip. He says like this. Listen carefully to this. The reasoning for v'ahavta l'orecha kamocha is as follows. A person naturally does not want to love somebody else as himself. He wants to split. He wants to make a distinction between himself and others. We find that Rabbi Akiva says, interestingly, Rabbi Akiva is the very person who says his main teaching was love your neighbor as yourself. But he also said that if there's a choice between your life and somebody else's life, you don't have to give up your life for somebody else. You need to live yourself first. The mitzvah of the Torah is that I need to love my friend. I need to treat him the same level as myself. The Ramban comes to explain a little diuk, a little nuance in the verse. It doesn't say you should love es reacha, it says lirecha, to your friend. There's a hashva, there's an equalization that's going on here. Also, in regards to loving the proselyte, somebody who's a stranger, someone who became part of the Jewish people, he chose to become a Jew. He was a non-Jew, he chose to become a Jew. So by both of them, there's an idea that we need to love them equally in one's mind. Sometimes a person will do a favor for his friend, maybe he'll give him some money, but he won't do something that has to do with wisdom. We'll see what that means. If a person truly loves his friend in every way, right, the way a person loves his child, so he will want to do good things to him, the one he truly loves, with money. He wants him to be rich, he wants him to have possessions, he wants him to have honor, he wants him to be smart, but still not as smart as me, not as rich as me. A person will always have in his heart, I still want to be better than him. The Torah is commanding us, the Torah is enjoining us, is asking of us to be greater than that, not to allow any jealousy in our hearts. A person is enjoined by the Torah. The Torah is asking of us to be happy when another person is rich, to be happy when he has it just as much as us, if not more. Just like I want for myself, I should want for my friend. There shouldn't be differences. There shouldn't be different levels of love. There's one love. The same love I have for myself, Torah asks me to have for others. And by the way, this is not in the book, but an amazing thing to do when a person feels jealousy is to pray for that person, to daven. I ask Hashem, please give that person all the things that I want for myself, and enumerate them, make a list, and pray for that person. And at the beginning it might feel fake, but doing it a bunch of times, it starts to be real. It's amazing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects us. He enjoins us. God shows us it's possible to change our attitude. So Reb Chaim Friedlander explains, based on the Ramban, that a person thinks, if somebody else has something that I have, it takes away from me. He wants his friend to have a little bit less. It comes out that the concept of loving one's neighbor as oneself, the Torah is telling us, understand something. When someone else has something positive, it does not take away from you at all. What he has does not take away from you. Hashem wants us. It's like a parent. I look at my kids, when I see if they're fighting, as kids do, I say to them, I want you to want good for the other one. I want you to love your sister. I want you to love your brother. I want you to be happy that the other person has something good. And it's not an easy thing to do. I'm jealous. Why did she get a candy? I didn't get a candy. Baruch Hashem, the children share, but not always. So that's what the Torah is telling us, that it's possible to be happy when someone else has something. Now looking at it from the other side, from the side of bad, the power of gossip is the opposite of loving our neighbors ourselves. I want to take away from somebody else. And and the person who speaks Lashon Hara wants to find all of the faults in the other person. If I knock him down, picks me up. But it's absolutely false. We don't judge a person based on other people. Because Baruch Hu doesn't judge me based on the people around me. God judges me based on myself. It's based on the person's own advantages, the person's own accomplishments. His own spiritual acquisitions. The Isgabris, the strengthening the person has inside of himself. It doesn't depend at all on comparisons to his friend. So this explains the Gemara, which I didn't read inside before, which talks about what's your advantage? What do you gain? What does the Baal Lashon Hara gain from it? It's like a snake who bites somebody and doesn't even eat it. It's not like a lion who comes and he hunts an animal because he's hungry. But the Baal Lashon Hara, the snake, he just bites, kills a person, doesn't end up, or kills an animal, it doesn't eat it. It's not, what does he benefit from it? But we see here that there is a benefit. Through speaking, so he is causing damage to the other person. He's biting the other person. The truth, however, is that he doesn't really have any personal benefit. And that's what the snake says. What does he have anymore? The snake is saying that the person who speaks Lashon Hara doesn't really have any advantage to speaking negatively of others. Now we're going to finish off with explaining the question that we asked earlier. The truth is that a person cannot knock down his friend and can't bring up his own self that way. He can't raise himself up. It doesn't make him any better by knocking someone else down. The person's positivity, the good things about a person are not dependent upon anyone else. Each person is an individual for whom the world was created. Each person is judged based on how he's fulfilling his own purpose in life, without comparing him to anybody else. The verse says, Ibn Ezra explains, why does the pasuk say at the end, you should love your neighbor as yourself, I am Hashem. I am one God who created you. The Reb Chaim Friedlander explains that his intent is, I created you all for one purpose, that you're all partners in. To know that I am Hashem your God. It's to know. What is the idea? Hashem has one purpose. You have all one purpose. You are all involved in the same. You are all partners. If you're partners in a business, so you're true partners, so you're all you care about is that the business should succeed. What's the business? You all need to know, the business is that you all need to know that Hashem is God. You're all partners in this. Don't see yourselves as competitors. Seeing the positive in other people is what raises us all up and raises him. That raises the person himself. The Fizem of our Moreno Harav Hagoyin Rav Dessler, Rav Dessler explains like this: what is the reason why the positive things pass over to the side of the one who was spoken about, and the negative things of the person who was spoken about is passed over to the person who spoke gossip? What's the reason? It is midah keneged midah. It's perfect. It's measure for measure, because, and I'm not going to read this inside, but the idea is that the person who speaks Lashon Hara has a mistake. He thinks that by knocking down somebody else, he gets lifted up. So in Olam Haba, they show him the truth that's completely untrue. that by knocking down somebody else, you don't get picked up. That you have the wrong gisha, you have the wrong approach to life. You misunderstand what happens. And so the punishment he receives is that something else, which is in line with the fact that he thinks that knocking someone else down picks him up. The midah keneged midah is he ends up with the negative aspects of that person come to him. That's midah keneged midah. It's true that it doesn't really have to do with him. He doesn't really deserve the punishment for those sins. But what did he do? He tried to say that person's negativity, knock him down so that I can have something positive. Now you will see me in a good way. So he was already miyaches. He already was saying that the negativity of that person he can use for himself in a positive way. So he ends up, the punishment is that he ends up with the negativity of that person in a negative way, which is the truth. Through this punishment, so he sees the depth of the mistake of the Hara, of Lashon Hara, speaking gossip, and this is how he rectifies it. It's specifically in this Isser of Lashon Hara that we find this type of punishment, so that he understand the depth of the lie, the foolishness. Okay, so I just want to end off on a positive note here, that the idea and the punishments all signify and give him an opportunity to recognize that he has had, by speaking negatively of others, he doesn't really bring them down, he brings down himself. That's why he ends up, as Reb Chaim Friedlander explains, that's why he ends up all alone, by himself, without any yachas to others, without any relationship to others. He ends up in a place by himself, and he has to call out, Tamei, Tamei Yikra, please have compassion on me. Please, I am impure, pray for me, that I shouldn't have this impurity, it shouldn't stay on me anymore. He is nizkak lerachamei acherim. He must have the compassion of others. He is forced to recognize that the negativity that he was using to try to raise himself up, now he needs the positivity of others to help him. He needs to recognize that we are all interconnected. I need the compassion of others. I need the love of others. And in the same way, I need to love others. I need to recognize that we are all one goof. We are all one body. We are all one soul. We are all one people, the Jewish people. And so I need to see myself, as he mentioned, I need to see myself as part of that whole, as part of that team, the Bring God into the World team, the Jewish team, the team of the people of Israel. And by doing so, by recognizing that, so that's how we focus on v'ahavta l'recha kamocha. The opposite of Lashon, the opposite of gossip, loving our neighbor as ourselves, recognizing that, no, not just that I want him to have good, I want him to have the same good as me, recognizing that we are truly brothers, that we are truly part of the same team. Hashem should help us, Hashem should bless you, and please bless me back. Hashem should bless us all, that we should be able to steer away from the negative of gossip, of trying to, of the falsehood. We should recognize the falsehood of knocking down others to pick ourselves up. Hashem should help us to recognize that we don't need that. That Hashem should help us see our true milas, the true positives within ourselves, the true good accomplishments that we are accomplishing throughout our lives. Hashem should help us to see that. Hashem should help us to see the positive in our friends, and to speak the positive, and to love others as ourselves, and to wish only good upon all those around us. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos. This podcast was made possible through the gracious donations of listeners like you. For more podcasts like this, please visit www.arigoldwag.com or search on iTunes Ari Goldwag.